Hello everyone, welcome to TPNN, the Profile Netcasting Network, broadcasting from the Profile in beautiful downtown Vancouver. Brought to you by Mr. Taxes. Visit them at mrtaxes.ca. You're listening to The Allan Knight Show, your business communications coach.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Allan Knight Show. I am the business communication coach. I first have to learn how to communicate properly myself.
You have to learn how to say it.
I have to learn how to say it. Welcome to the show every week here at the Profile Business Radio Network, downtown Vancouver. We have the Allan Knight Show, which is really all about business communication. It's one aspect of being successful in your own business is to learn how to communicate with more impact. And my focus is training you from the inside so that you're confident, you're assertive, you're clear, you have better leadership skills, you have better relationship selling skills. And this show really helps you with some tools, techniques. And every week, most of the time, we have a guest expert. Today, we don't have a guest expert, but we have someone sort of like a guest expert. He is our producer. Every week, Michael Zahora, who's an expert on video production, audio production, technology in general. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. What do you call yourself?
I am I'm going to say multimedia specialist.
Multimedia special. Very important today, isn't it?
Yes.
Very good. Good.
Very
Welcome to the
important.
show. You look good. You look.
I feel great.
You look fit. You sound good. You're obviously going through my training program, and it's good to see you.
Obviously, yes.
I always have to promote myself.
Yes, I know.
Welcome again to the show, Allan. If you want to look up my website, it's allanknight.com, ALLANKNIGHT.com. Email allan@allanknight.com. You could tweet us at @NightTalk, KNIGHTALK, 1T on Night Talk. And more than happy to get back to you with any questions you might have. Every week, as I said, we have a guest expert. And today I thought that we would talk about a specific topic, and Mike's going to be next to me here so we could chit-chat a bit about it. And I told him he can jump in anytime. I might ask him a few questions. But I want to focus on one important facet of communication, which is mastering the art of networking. And I know networking is a really, big subject, but it is so crucial. As I say every week, more and more people are getting into their own businesses and social media. I'm a big proponent. Is it proponent?
I think it's proponent.
I think it's proponent.
Yeah, it's
I'm trying to
proponent.
communicate that word. I'm a big proponent of social media, and I'm engaged in it, and I'm going to be more engaged in it. So this is absolutely not a put down of social media. But it was interesting. I turned on the TV on Sunday, and there was a gentleman. I don't know if he was a minister or someone like a minister. Really cool guy. And he was talking about the fact, and he wasn't putting down social media. He admitted he had 4 or 5 computers himself. But he was saying, we're losing in our culture because of the advent of the internet. There's a lot of good things about it, but there are things that we have to be careful about. And I agree with him. He said, we're living in a society now where people have trouble just being calm, being quiet, really listening, having the space to go deeper because we're so busy with quick tips or words or quotes or phrases through Twitter and through our social media and through texting that we don't often give ourselves time to go deeper into ourselves where intuition is and calmness and contentment are. And the reality is this is what I say everywhere I go and every seminar that I do, every talk that I give, the combination of interpersonal skills, both online and offline, would give you all the tools that you need to master the art of building your entrepreneurial business. So one facet of that is the art of networking. Now, Mike, I'm sure you would agree with me. I know this is so probably in every city in North America. There are tons of meetup groups.
Tons of them.
Have you been to any?
I've been to quite a few.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's meetup groups. There's Chamber of Commerce, Board of Trade. There's BNIs of the world. There's all these people that are going. Why are they going to these events?
Well, I think it's to meet people. It's to connect with other people.
For the purpose of?
I'm not going to say business, because a lot of people don't go to these meetings to actually do business, but to
Right.
connect with people to help them do business.
Right.
Right. as opposed to, hey, I've got a deal for you. Here's my card. You know what I mean?
Right. But the most people are going to these network groups, including you and me in the past, whatever, and some in the present. We're going there with the hope that some business will come from it sooner or later.
Well, one of the interesting things that I heard is this was at like a networking thing, and the guy who's talking, says, who's here to sort of get new business or to sell something to people, through this networking meeting that we're having, and almost everybody raises their hand, right? And then he said, who's here to buy something? And nobody raised their hand.
Everyone is there to sell something.
Exactly, but nobody is there to buy.
Right.
So if you look at it from the point of view of maybe how can I help another person, right? Like earlier today, Kevin was talking to somebody, and I started talking to him, and he told me about this idea that he has, and it was automatically, hey, I know 2 people that would really be really great for this idea that you've got.
Right.
Right. It's not about trying to sell them about
Right.
something. It's about connecting people with other people.
Right. And you bring up an excellent point, and I want to cover in the short period of time that we have some of the do's and don'ts of what I consider to be effective networking. And one of the points that you brought up was just that. What our true intention and how we're really how effective we are communicating ourselves when we're out networking. If we're desperate for business and all we want to do is go and meet people and hopefully we close a deal, we get a client out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And if that's our main intention, and we're flailing away and hoping for the best, and we don't have a strategy, and we're freaked out because we're not sure we can pay the rent, that's very different than having your own business where you're setting up a strategy, including networking strategy for your business.
Yeah.
And you bring up an excellent point. I remember that many years ago, I was guilty of doing the same thing. I had these expectations, and I would go to a big trade show or an event, say, wow, all these people are, and I'd leave depressed after 2 hours because I didn't find anyone to do business with, right?
Exactly.
But I did change my attitude like you recommended, and it was weird. It was great. One day I decided to take every business card of a group that I went to visit. There were about 25 people, and I got everybody's business card. And I made 25 phone calls. Most people don't phone back. Most people don't phone
exactly.
back when
They
get
don't
their cards, right?
stay in touch. Yeah.
So I phoned back, and I would say, Mike, Allan Knight, great meeting you the other day. By the way, the reason for my call is that I don't know about you, but I really benefit. I find it's very beneficial to either get on the phone at the appointed time or have a coffee where I get a chance to get to know more about your business and you get a chance to know more about my business, and we see if there's any way we can mutually help each other. So I started to make those phone calls.
Yeah.
And the first 3 meetings, coffee meetings I had, I didn't have coffee with everyone. Sometimes we just agreed to get on the phone at some time, but I did take the time to go for coffee with some.
Okay.
And one of them was selling some Visa merchant card stuff. Now, initially, normally, I wouldn't be interested at all. I would have sloughed it off. So I started the coffee meeting by saying, could you tell me more specifically what your service is and how you help companies? So he took 5-8 minutes and did that. I say, wow, that is interesting. And you're telling me that it will save that kind of money for the average company? He said, yeah. And within 2 days, I had 3 leads that he followed up on. And he was so happy, he called me next week to say that he had some client for me.
Exactly.
And it didn't come from either one of us pushing ourselves on one another. So one aspect of effective marketing is go there with the attitude, how am I going to help each person? The other day, I just walked around a big trade show, and I had fun, and I connected. And the last thing in my mind was getting business.
Yep.
It was there somewhere, but I said, I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to communicate with each person and be appropriate. Some people I would just have a good time and goof around with. Some people I asked them more questions about. Some people asked me some questions. Some people were following up with a coffee. Some people are going to come to my next meetup group. And it was just fun and great, and I'll follow them all up, online or offline.
Exactly.
So a lot of it is the expectations or lack of and the energy that we're putting out. Does that make a lot of sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Right. So that's number 1. Number 2, here's another interesting thing, especially for people that are very desperate to get business. They tend to look at every event that they hear about and run to it, no matter what it is, without actually thinking about being more selective to which networking events they're going to.
Sort of like the shotgun approach.
Right.
Yeah.
The shotgun approach, because the problem with the shotgun approach, and I've seen it in my experience over the years, there are literally some groups that I've been part of that are great. You go there, you feel like family, but it's the same people, all of them trying to sell something. A little business gets done. But the question you have to ask yourself, is this the maximal use of my time? And I've been telling some of my clients recently, rather than focusing on so many networking events, depending on the product or service, why not target the true audience that you're looking for? Let me give you a perfect example.
Okay.
One of my colleagues is into physical fitness training.
Yeah.
And she's attending a lot of these events over and over, these smaller groups. And she looked at me the other day and she said, Allan, I don't know if this is worth it for me. And I smiled because I knew what she was talking about, right? I said, let me ask you a question. You've got a physical fitness program. Why not create a corporate shape-up program and go to companies that have money, that would be interested to increase their performance, increase their health, increase their productivity, with companies that have the money? Where you're going now are mostly people that are, a lot of them are in home-based business that can't even afford necessarily your service.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So she now had to rethink what target audience to go after. You need to strategize. That's another thing. Does that make sense too?
No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, if you're using the shotgun approach and just trying to hit every meeting or meetup or whatever, you're not like laser focusing on what you want to have done or what you want to do.
Right.
Right. You're just sort of hoping something appears as opposed to planning to make something happen.
Right. For example, just looking at your service, right?
Yeah.
You know, if I meet someone and they tell me I'm looking for a video production guy, so I'm going to tell them to go to you. But there's a difference between like a big bank coming to you and want their corporate video. That's not going to cost them $200.
No.
Versus a small home-based business person that might need something and can't afford thousands of dollars in a quality corporate video, right?
Well, exactly.
So you need to decide where you want to focus your time, right?
Well, exactly. And, in my case, I focus my time on showing people how to do it themselves.
Right.
Right. Because, like you said, a lot of these small companies don't have the money to, hire a production company to do this, videos on a regular basis.
Exactly.
So if I show them do it yourself, they're good to go.
Absolutely.
Next point on networking, the whole point of connecting with people. People will lose out, and a lot of people will lose out on productivity if they're too shy, if they're too insecure when they go to these events. Because if you're going to a networking event, you should network. You should have the confidence to get out there, connect with people, be personable. And I see many people that are too shy. They'll latch on to someone that they know. If someone knows Michael Zahora, they'll talk to him for an hour at a networking event because they know him and it feels comfortable. Meanwhile, they're not being very productive.
See, I think for somebody like that, a good idea is, the video that we did before where we were talking about, creating your elevator speech.
Yeah.
Right. If they watch something like that and have something prepared that they can actually introduce themselves with and talk to somebody about, right, I think they'll be less shy. Because a lot of the times, like you said, they're like, hi, my name is Mike Zahora. I do this. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
That's their introduction. That's why they're afraid.
Right. I think that's part of it for some people. The way in the program and the coaching that I do, I always divide them into two elements. There is your inner self-confidence, and there is mastering your simple communication skills. Now, depending who the person is, there are some people that all they need are the right words and the creative words to connect, and they're off and running.
Exactly.
But other people, you could teach them the greatest words in the world and the greatest elevator speech in the world. They have much more deeper rooted insecurities and fears.
Oh, exactly.
That's why they need to go through what I call an inner shape-up program.
Yes.
By the way, you can always check it out at allanknight.com.
Good plug.
So that's why I'm saying a lot of people who are too shy, they need to do some personal development. They need to do certain work so that by building their confidence, they're going to walk on. I remember, this is a kind of a funny little sidebar, but it's a personal story. Many, many years ago when I first started to get into personal development, it had to do with girls. And I realized that I was very shy. Even though I was popular in my high school, I was very shy. When I went out, if I see girls, whether it's in a club or wherever I was at a party, I was actually quite shy. I'm very outgoing now.
But at one point, I went to a 2-day workshop. And out of that, I got so much confidence from the inside that I said, I'm going to a club tonight, and I will not leave until I get 10 phone numbers from 10 different women at that time.
Okay.
And I walked up to each one. Some were nice, some were not so nice. Nobody hit me. And I learned an amazing lesson that if you just relax and be yourself and be authentic and you be genuine, most people will respond to that.
Exactly.
And as you start getting used to that and start to build confidence in your own life, that's very important too, then you're going to have a much easier time connecting. You know, one of the things that I talk a lot about, Mike, and the way I try to live my life in terms of relationships as a business communication coach, thank you for reminding me about business communication coach, is I tell a lot of my clients is try to create an environment. Every time you're with somebody, create an environment within which they could feel very comfortable being with you. Okay. So if you're personable and relaxed, not uptight, not too pushy, not too scary, not too weird, but just be yourself, and they feel lighter around you, then it gives them the opportunity to be themselves, to trust you more, to like you more, then the communication flows more quickly.
Okay, so what about the shy person? What's like one tip you can give the shy person just to sort of overcome that and be more themselves?
I think the one tip that I can give, of course, this is something you got to practice on an ongoing basis. But when a person's shy, what does that mean? It means fear. It means a person is allowing fear, some form of fear, to control them. So let's say I walk into a room and I'm a shy guy, and I have a fear that these people may not like me. I have a fear that they might reject me. So I've got this insecurity and fear. Well, my mind is connected to my emotion, is connected to my action, is connected to my communication. So if I am afraid of what someone thinks about me, I'm afraid they're going to reject me. Therefore, I will hold on to the fear and I will hold on to the negative thinking. So if I go home, and I have some special exercises for that, but I'm trying to give you a quick assessment. Yeah. If I go home and work on 3 parts, reprogram my mind, let's say it's about being totally comfortable when I'm networking with other people. I take that affirmation, I repeat it over and over again, and then I verbalize it. So I take it from my mind, I reprogram my mind. I am confident and effective in my networking skills. I am confident and I verbalize it to channel the emotions, and then I immediately follow it into action. Okay. So I'd want to do it before I go to a networking event. And then I walk to that networking event and I just discipline myself to walk up to each person, a minimum number that I decide that I'm going to walk up to. So you connect your mind to your emotional commitment to your action.
Okay.
That's easier said than done. It's a process, but I'm just trying to give you a specific tip.
No, that's perfect.
Last point before we close up shop here. Remember, it's Allan Knight Show, your communication business coach, here every week at the Profile Business Radio. It's sponsored by the Profile Radio Network. Is it really?
Well, we're actually calling it the Profile Netcasting Network now.
Wow, that's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah.
Why netcasting?
Well, it covers podcasting, it covers video,
internet, everything.
Exactly. It's netcasting now.
So I'm going to have to get used to that. So the Profile Netcasting Network.
Yep.
Okay.
TPNN.
TPNN. Allan Knight Show from TPNN Vancouver.
Yeah.
Every week we're with Mike Zahora, who's our producer. The Profile Radio Network, Netcasting Network. Is our sponsor. Beautiful facilities here, downtown Vancouver and Gastown, Suite 200, 375 Water Street. They're our sponsor right from the beginning. And we're very excited because there's, you see our show every week, but there's a lot happening behind it. How much can I tell people about the future of this? Can I say anything?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I'm just saying that there are a lot of cool things that we're doing. Kevin Penstock, the owner, is been working behind the scenes with Mike feverishly, setting up this whole network where in stages we will have a whole host of radio hosts. Allan Knight Show will just be one show of the business network that it's going to be. And it's going to be very, very cool. So as things develop, we will give you more and more information. To wrap up, by the way, you have any last question or comment about networking?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin and I were actually going to be creating our own little maybe weekly show of what's happening
Wow.
at the profile.
That's a good idea.
Right. So we're going to do a show, we're going to try weekly and just keep people up to date of what's happening here, some of the events that is going to be coming up, some of the new hosts, new shows. When we audition a new host, we're going to put it up on our website so actually the audience can vote on the new hosts.
Wow.
Right.
Cool.
So the ones that get the most votes become hosts.
Do I get a benefit having already been a host? They don't have to audition?
Yeah,
anymore?
no, you don't have to audition. You're good.
Okay, so at least I paid my dues.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. One last point about effective networking. And I think it's really, really important point, and most people forget this. And, often people say, well, I speak to 20 people, I phone 20 people, and I might be lucky to make one sale.
Yeah.
The way I view it, Mike, is that the word close, I hate the word close, but we know what we mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
I close every human being that I meet. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Now, I
Now
never
you're going to have to
said,
define what close means.
that's where I'm going.
Yeah, okay.
That's my next step.
Okay, perfect.
I don't close everybody to a product or service that I'm selling right away, but I close every human being that I meet to the next level of the relationship building process with me.
Okay.
So if I go to a networking event, and I really encourage all of you to think of it, it's the mindset that you have. When I go into a networking event, I see tens of thousands of people because there's thousands of people behind each person, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if I get to know you, chit chat, chit chat, chit chat, we exchange cards. The very least, we're going to exchange cards. You might get on my free newsletter. I might get on your free newsletter. We might follow up and have a coffee, chit chat, get to know each other a bit more.
Yep.
You might be directly interested in my service right away, or I might be interested in yours, or I might be interested in yours, and 3 months you're interested in mine, and we get to know each other over a period of months, and maybe in a year we do a major business together.
Or we know somebody who can use your service and vice versa,
Right.
or whatever, and say, hey, give this guy a call, or I'll have this guy call you. And
Right. And that is why it is so critical to have some kind of sales relationship selling funnel, to have a website, to have some kind of, newsletter or some way of communicating and following up with people, because not everyone's going to want a service right away, and not everyone is going to want the same things right away.
Exactly.
But if you connect with people, and that's the first step in the networking process, but you don't go home, put the 20 cards away, say, nothing came of it, and they build up cobwebs.
Exactly.
They're alive. My goal is to have a membership online. Well, if all the people that are in my card list, my card, what do you call it? My card
Book?
it's a box.
I don't
It's a
know.
box
Do
card.
you have a box? I've got a little book with the cards in it. I don't know. Do you have a
I don't know what
box?
to call it. But anyway, and of all my business cards, all the cards that I have there, everybody in that card at least could get to know my radio show, and they get to know my world, and they could get sent my newsletter. And some
Exactly.
of them down the road, when I launch my membership program, many of them might become members for $19.95 because of the relationship we built. So it's very important to see the bigger picture of the relationships that you're building, and networking is often the very first step.
Okay.
Make sense?
Makes sense. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's say somebody's completely new to networking and going out to meetups, and what would you suggest as a guideline of how many people they should meet, like let's say per hour? Because I know of one person who said, "Oh, I went to a networking event. I was there for an hour, and I got 25 business cards." And I thought to myself, well, is that really networking, or is that just here, give me your card kind of thing?
Right.
Right? Where's that fine balance of actually being able to communicate with somebody, and then just handing out business cards?
Right. It's an excellent question. And the way I approach it, depending on where I go and depending what my strategy and goal is, let's use an example of the 25 people in a room that I've just met. They all get up, they all introduce themselves.
Okay.
By their introduction, I make notes on who are the top 5 people that I know that I'd like to connect with.
Okay.
Because either I believe that they might need my service, or we might be able to set up an interesting joint venture. And those are 5 people that I know would be the top 5 that I want to go up to after the meeting, at least to shake their hand and get to know them.
Okay.
Now, let's say I don't have time to personally shake hands with all the 25. I also would like to make sure that I am able to get all those business cards.
Okay.
In one way or another, right? Mm-hmm. Because if I don't have a chance to go up to the people that I know that are my main priority list, I can always follow up with a phone call to these other 20.
Gotcha. Okay.
If that's my model. But if my model is to build a large membership, then almost everybody is potentially someone that can work with me. If I'm selling a $20,000 product and I have a very targeted audience, I might not need everyone's card. You know what I mean? I might want to focus. That's why it's not a black or white rule. But I would say for the vast majority of people that are out networking, the lists are very crucial. You know that.
Yep.
Just as much as I know. You look at all the people that you've attracted through YouTube, right?
Yep.
So the lists are critical. Therefore, I like to get everyone's business cards because, as you said before, I don't know. Jane Doe might not need my service. I might not hear, but she might know someone, or I might know someone for her. And what I do is when I call them back, often I will even send them a little cool video that I have.
Yeah,
It was great meeting you. I make it personal.
Yeah,
and I say, well, that was an interesting touch because I'm there. I want to connect with them in an impactful way and begin something. Now, with some of these people, it may not go anywhere. If they want me to take them off the list or vice versa, not a problem.
Yeah.
But I want to maximize my experience by going up to the people that are my A list and get the cards of the B list and follow them up.
Okay, perfect.
Make sense, sir?
Makes sense.
Thank you so much for helping us out here.
Thanks
I
for
like
having
this
me on.
format.
Yeah.
This format is better than just me or anybody talking at the camera. So
Well, exactly.
ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you like this show and the art of networking. We'll see you next week, same time, same station. In the meantime, have a fantastic week. Take care.